was a great experience. I had a great time. He kept us moving, a lot of music and a lot of real life situations and a lot of things that happen in the classroom in schools that are Title I schools that we can address better as teachers. And I particularly loved one of the chapters in the book that talks about how students should make their brains strong, how they should build their working memory. So my kids in the classroom, my students started recalling numbers, 3-digit numbers. Now they're down to 6-digit numbers and they really like it. They play with this, but it helps them at the same time. Another thing I really liked, he had one of these and I got one for my class, so it's a train whistle. I really enjoyed it. I had a nice time.
I'm a math teacher here at Easton, and so, you know, being a numbers guy, I really like the approach that he took in terms of being a presenter, because being someone who can write books and then go and actually speak to what, I guess, working with poverty means to him, it was nice to have someone who not just was able to discuss what he knew, but show his own, I guess, background into why it works, how it works, really getting us engaged. So to proving, you know, if you put the time in with the children, the way that he put the time in what, like 3-4 hours with adults, it really is, it's captivating. I really enjoyed the fact that he's really big on working memory and building a child's working memory and explaining the background on why it's so important to have this, especially coming from a background that's maybe not the best. We've been able to do that with our math. We open all of our lessons up that way now. It's very short, but it gets the kids engaged, it gets them thinking, and even students who usually kind of kick back and don't do much, they at least, you know, even if they're not doing a lot, they're paying attention, and that's what I'm looking for.
Engagement is such a huge and broad concept that you can bring to the classroom that is hard to really come up with the explanation to how to create engagement in a classroom in such a way that is sustained and that it lasts over time. Engagement is relationships in the classroom, is connections with the students' lives, is having the kids believing what you say and what you do so that they are invested in what they do every day. Jensen presents engagement as I think is the key to have the kids want to succeed. And it's the teacher's job to create that atmosphere in the classroom so that it happens. Engagement is not a one-time activity that you do during the day or during the lesson. Engagement is not a 1 or 2 ideas that you bring from a workshop that you want to implement in the classroom. It's more than that. It's a sustained classroom culture in which students invest their whole selves to do what it takes to be successful.
The fact that he is so positive and engaging in the workshops, and the fact that building relationships with our colleagues as well as the students. And I think the biggest thing was he said not to say to a child, good job. He said you need to actually tell them what it is that you see that they did so well.
I took away a lot, more than I could even speak about, but the number one thing I took away was his notion of cognitive capacity for children, and that poverty affects the hippocampus part of the brain, which is something I'd never really read about or heard much about, which is, the hippocampus is critical for learning and memory, and poverty causes the hippocampus to not be as large. But there are ways that teachers can help increase cognitive capacity and enlarge the hippocampus by doing work and memory exercises, such as all kinds of things having to do with movement. Children can get up and do all kinds of movement, clapping hands, practicing jumping rope, physical things that help with their cognitive capacity. So that was something I thought was really interesting.
The one thing that I took away is that just for us as educators, just to remember that when students walk into our doors, that they're coming from different walks of life. Some are coming from very stressful situations, and so it's our job as educators, to meet them where they are and to engage them and make them active learners.
My biggest takeaway from Mr. Jensen was probably when you have an engaged learner, you have a learner. And we as teachers must go above and beyond to try to reach our students using several teaching styles and different methods.
One of the main points that I took away was that students in high poverty areas receive more negative comments than positive comments throughout the day. And so what I have chose to do was try to put more positivity, into my classroom. Whether it is just a simple good job to my students, letting them know, especially my students who struggle, letting them know that, you have caught on, you know what you're doing, congratulations, good job, because the smile that lights up their face when that happens is amazing.
I've really enjoyed the work that we've been doing as a school with Eric Jensen. I would say that one of my biggest takeaways is the fact that he stresses a lot building relationships with students. And so our teachers and our staff has had the opportunity to go and engage in this work, and not only just our teachers, but our whole staff as a whole. We've had our custodian go, we've had our secretary go, and that's been very powerful because it takes a village, like we know, to help our kids to learn and grow. Another thing that I like about Eric Jensen is still in reference to building relationships, but helping teachers to understand that it goes beyond just the required curriculum. We want to invest in them as the whole child so that we can help them to grow and progress in the world today.
He was amazing. He was with us for 2 days, and on the first day, one of the first things he said was directed at administrators. And he said, look, when you get out of your car in the morning and you're in the parking lot, you need to be ready to embrace interruptions. Welcome interruptions, welcome the unexpected. And so I've really been trying to remember and remind myself of that every day. It's very difficult because you've got your plans, you've got your things you got to do. You want to get into this classroom and go to this meeting and that meeting. But stuff happens the minute you step out of your car, and it doesn't stop until you leave, and even then it doesn't stop. Your phone doesn't stop ringing, your emails don't stop blowing up. And the more willing and ready you are as an administrator to just welcome that's your life, that's the job you signed on for, the healthier you're going to be.